Hi, it's me again. Now, I found a story in the paper today which I found interesting. I thought we could have a bit of a chat about it. It's about two, well, frankly, complete idiot girls from Scotland. And they were attending a music festival, as many young girls in their 20s from Scotland do, I would imagine. But these ones were particularly stupid. And they did this. Look, this isn't the point I want to talk about, but you need to know this bit first. And one of the girls was caught with 42 knotted plastic bags hidden in her waistband containing 26 grams of that substance worth £4,100, as well as 2.43 grams of that substance valued at 400 quid, and 96 of those tablets worth nearly £1,000. So she's smuggling very serious controlled substances into a music festival where I've been to a couple. People do like to enjoy that sort of activity. Not myself, obviously. And the other one had 143 of those tablets stashed inside her privates, worth 1,490 quid. Young girls in their 20s who are quite good looking like this one normally plan on having something else stashed inside their privates during one of these weekends, but, you know, each to their own, I suppose. This is where it gets interesting for me. I don't get it. I do not get it. But the duo was spared jail after a judge accepted they were pressured into acting as mules by other punters on their bus. I'm sorry. 42 knotted plastic bags of 26 grams of an interesting white powder, other powder, and some pills. And the other one whacked a load of tablets up herself. Spared jail after a judge... How's this work, then? The pair had travelled 230 miles from their homes to attend Creamfields Festival in Cheshire in 22 with a group of their friends. When questioned, the pair claimed they were persuaded to take the drugs into the event by the rest of the coach party and insisted they were not planning to sell the drugs. 42 knotted bags of Charlie, a load of MDMA powder, 250 near odd between the two of them, pills. Coach party. That was either going to be one serious party for the coach party that weekend, or they're lying. At Chester Crown Court, the duo pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply. Right. So they pled guilty to possession with intent to supply. So it's no different to picking a bloke up off the street who is a proper pucker drug dealer. That's what they were found guilty of, possession with intent to supply. They raid a house and they find 96 little pouches of white powder. That's intent to supply. That's a serious problem. One of them was sentenced to 21 months in prison, suspended for 18 months, a slap on the wrist. And the other one, meanwhile, was sentenced to 18 months jail, suspended for 18 months. Both women sobbed in the dock, probably out of relief, and they were also ordered to complete 200 hours of unpaid work. Both faced 4 years jail under sentencing guidelines. In sentencing, Judge Stephen Everett told the women, "At some point you received your tickets for Creamfields, and I know you would have received other information which shows happened to attempt to take drugs into Creamfield. Many have gone to prison and their lives have been completely changed because they did not see the seriousness of what they were doing." Do you think, because I watch a lot of Banged Up Abroad, right? And they get a free, like these naive girls, get a free holiday in paradise and a bit of spending money, all to bring back a controlled substance into whatever country. They knew what they were doing. You know, they knew they had to bring something back in order to get the free holiday and the 10 or 20 grand they were being paid. It's not out of the realms of possibility these two girls had their ticket and coach paid for in advance to agree to do this, even if that's how I see it. Even if that's not the case, even if they're all friends on the bus and the friends all clubbed together and said, right, you two are bringing all the gear in and you can have some free gear this weekend, or however it worked out, that's still drug trafficking and it's still possession with intent to supply, nothing. So it's okay now then. It's okay to carry around tons of drugs in your knickers with intent to supply those drugs. You were each engaged by pressure. I recognised that and prepared to accept it was because of naivety. Naivety isn't a defence. Naivety isn't a defence. It's like saying, well, I didn't know it was a crime, so how can I be guilty of it? I didn't know that murder was illegal, Your Honour. Can I go home as well? Each of you had to wait for the best part of 18 months before you were charged. This is a real fear factor. That's their punishment, is it? A fear factor. As the evidence was clear-cut from the start. It is unacceptable for someone to wait such a long time. So he feels sorry for them. The judge felt sorry for them having to wait such a long time for their sentencing. Is that why he's been ridiculously lenient on them? This is justice delayed, and ultimately it's a factor in your... Yeah, it is. As a factor in your favour, as you have since made real steps to turn your lives around. What? By not carrying around drugs up your chuff. I mean, I do that every day. Can I go and do some crimes and be treated really leniently, Your Honour? Earlier, prosecutor John Oates said on the 25th of August, 22 at Creamfields, a sniffer dog indicated that one of the girls might be in possession of drugs at the festival. Which girl? Which bit was that sniffer dog sniffing? Tough job being a sniffer dog, isn't it? She immediately admitted that she had drugs concealed and told police she'd been asked to bring them in. So she's not only a drug mule that completely got off scot-free, she's a rubbish drug mule at that. Don't drop yourself in it immediately, do you? One of the girls' defence counsel, Miss Lisa Judge, good name for that, said, very obvious efforts were made by one of the girls at the scene to identify the perpetrator on the coach, who had convinced her stupidly to take the drugs into the Creamfields Festival. So she's a grass as well. Okay. But he was actually pointed out and held upon leaving Creamfields, and there was no prosecution against him. I'm not sold on this. I'm not sold on this at all. Drugs ruin lives. Absolutely ruin lives. How many people's lives have been damaged, not just by Colombian marching powder, but by those pills? There was a big story in Essex when I was growing up. I forget the girl's name now. But when I think it was 16, 17, there was a big death from that, and it put everyone off it. And drugs ruin lives. I've been around them. I've seen them. Sadly, I've used some in the past. Would never do it again. They got off completely scot-free for smuggling drugs with intent to supply. And good for them. All right, they can turn their lives around. Hopefully, they'll make the best of it, and hopefully they will be good people in future. That's the best hope we can have from this, because they certainly haven't learned anything about punishment and responsibility, in my opinion. Just because they had to wait 18 months, the judge went easy on them. No, I'm sorry. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. If they were flying in with all those up their chuffs, well, only one of them had them up the chuff, to be fair, didn't she? It'd be a different story, wouldn't it? How is this different? How is this different? I don't know. It just got my back up a bit, this one. I've been trying to talk about some other stuff again, but this one wound me up a bit. What do you think about this? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, while you're down there leaving your comment, hit all the buttons and everything as well. And if you do that, hopefully I'll get to see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da!